We're joined now by former Charlottesville Police Chief Rashall Brackney, forensic psychologist Dr. Kris Mohandie, and Bobbi Nichols. Now, Bobbi matters. She was a witness to the attack, and her sister, Tricia, was killed in the shooting. Bobbi, let me talk to you first. I'm sorry for what your family had to deal with. I know this matters to you, so I wanted to give you the opportunity. What is your reaction to hearing, what this guy clearly had going through his head?
He had mental illness. And everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. His family, his friends, his reservist friends, his supervisor, his commander, they all knew it. The state police knew it. The hospital knew it. Many police, Joel Mary, Saginaw County Sheriff, he knew it. He didn't go get his guns. Nobody followed any protocol.
So let's talk about why, because that does seem to be the case. Rashall, I'll start with you. Very slow to go after officers because, as we both know, they don't get a heck of a lot of training when it comes to this. But I understand that the law is that you need to articulate a specific threat, right, just to kind of clear the idea of not being punished for your speech or your thoughts. But this guy wound up going away to the hospital for like over 10 days. When you watch this in that context, do you think that the training should have been different and that the aggression here in terms of what actions to take should have been different?
So thank you for having me, Kris. And again, my condolences to all the families that still continue to suffer after this needless tragedy. Training is really important. Yes, I'm going to say that. But training does not supersede not being willing to leverage the law and the resources that these officers had at their disposal, as well as the resources that the Army had at its disposal, and obviously fought, because they didn't just send him to the hospital. It was a command order to send him to West Point first before he was then transferred to a civilian hospital. So we know that they all believed that he was a threat to either himself or to the public, which is what an officer would need in order to start that system and that ball rolling to where they could have had an intervention like the yellow flag laws in Maine to take his weapons away with due process in front of a judge where they could have removed the weapons, particularly after the reservist and his best friend said, "We're concerned. He has a lot of weapons. He has a lot of weapons."
Rashall.
And then one thing, Kris, just you should note, is he even says to the officers, who are very casually standing there as though he's not a threat, 10 minutes into the video, he's got a knife. So for some reason, they felt some sort of sympathy and some sort of kinship to him that they didn't even think he was a threat at that moment when he was clearly a threat by the people who were saying, we know him to be a threat. And he's armed, he's trained, he's in his Army barracks room. Every flag should have gone off. Every flag.
Well, it's not new to hear that law enforcement has a little bit of deference when it comes to dealing with other people who are on the job, or in this case, in the military, because they have a little bit more of an institutional concern of how much trouble you can get in those situations. What role that played here or not, it's just another ingredient in the soup. But Kris Mohandie, the yellow flag law, even a red flag law, they only work if people are willing to work the process and see what's obvious. This guy was in the hospital a long time. What does this situation reflect to you about what the system still doesn't do?
Well, see something, say something worked. The people came forward with the issues that they were concerned about. His coworkers, his ex-wife, his son, all the alarms are being sounded. But if the system fails, the lower chain of command of this guy's military structure, the law enforcement people from New York, the law enforcement people from Maine, gross systemic failures to enforce what needed to be enforced. You even have mental health system failure here, because in California, in most places, you keep somebody in the hospital for more than a few days, 10 days, 14 days, whatever this guy is, you are going to lose your guns. Those guns need to be removed, and that's a failure. Maine needs to have a red flag law that they enforce. New York had one. They could have used it. They didn't. It's a grotesque systemic failure at every single level. Once those people did what they should have done, nobody else did what they should have done for the reasons that you kind of talked about, Kris. You know, given a little bit of benefit of the doubt for somebody that wears a uniform. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
It's very rare to have a cop have somebody say to him, yeah. They're being careful now because they know I'll do something. They know I'm capable. And they back off when the guy doesn't want to follow it up. There are a lot of people sitting in jails who wish they had gotten that benefit of the doubt. And we know what it did here.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.